A very warm welcome to those who join us today for this talk on postgraduate research studying opportunities within Faculty of Computing, Engineering and Media, or CHEM in short, within De Montfort University. Now, in this talk today, you will get a flavor of the breadth of research conducted within the different research institutes in CHEM. Now, there is some excellent research being conducted by both staff as well as postgraduate research students, and they're highly impactful and especially, with huge societal impacts. Now, if PGR or postgraduate research studies is in your mind, we encourage you to actively get in touch with us and to take the next step forward. Now, as we speak, if you do have any questions, please do feel free to ask them by typing it on the chat, and we will try our best to address them at the end. And if this is not the time that when you want to ask questions, we will be providing our email addresses. So please do not hesitate to get in touch with us in the coming days. Now, just before we proceed, a very brief introduction from myself. Myself, Lipika, Dr. Lipika Dekar, Senior Lecturer in Computer Science and the Faculty Head of Research Students within the Faculty of Computing, Engineering and Media. My email address will be in the slides that we will be sharing in a moment, and please do get in touch, and I shall help in any way I can in with your application that you want to put forward. So just move on to the slides now. So like I just said, the faculty is it's a very diverse faculty, and it comprises of 3 different schools: the Computer Science and Informatics, Engineering and Sustainable Development, and the Leicester Media School. Now, while it's very diverse, but it's sort of tied in with, underpins all these, different schools is technology and innovation. And another thing that sort of ties us is that all our research and teaching is very much committed to supporting the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Now, as we proceed, it will be you will see what happens within the different institutes within the faculty, and you'll be able to see the different research that goes on within the different institutes. Now, just to move on, sorry. Now, as I said, that there are 3 different schools. So the first school, the Computer Science and Informatics, has within itself 3 different research institutes: the Center for Computing and Social Responsibility, Cyber Technology Institute, and the Institute of Artificial Intelligence. Now, the Center for Computing and Social Responsibility, the postgraduate research studies, and the students are being looked after by the Institute Head of Research Student, Dr. Caroline Keane. She'll speak in a moment, and her email address is on the screen at the moment. Now, Cyber Technology Institute, the Institute Head of Research Student is Dr. Feng Cheng. His email address is also on the screen, and he shall be speaking as well. For the Institute of Artificial Intelligence, we have Dr. Fabio Carafini as the Institute Head of Research Student. Moving on, we then have the Engineering and Sustainable Development, the School of Engineering and Sustainable Development, with 2 different research institutes. Institute of Engineering Sciences with Institute Head of Research Student as Dr. Maysam Abdi, who will be speaking in a moment, and the Institute Head of Research Student for Energy and Sustainable Development is Professor Mark Lemon. Mark is not here with us today, he's on leave, but Dr. Andrew Mitchell will be talking about the Institute of Energy and Sustainable Development. Mark's email address is also on the screen at the moment. And then, of course, we have got the Leicester Media School with 3 institutes and 2 research centers. Institute of Creative Technologies, whose Institute Head of Research Student is Professor Tracy Harwood. Cinema and Television History Institute, the Institute Head of Research Student is Dr. Lorraine Potter. Today, again, she's on leave, so the Institute Director, Professor Justin, will be speaking on behalf of Lorraine. We then have the Media and Communication Research Center, whose director is Dr. Simon Mills. Then we have got Media Discourse Center, led the Institute Head of Research student being Dr. Juliana Tripoli, and she will be here with us today. And of course, we have got Music, Technology and Innovation, Institute for Sonic Creativity, Institute Head of Research student, Professor John Young, who will be speaking to us in a moment. With this, giving you the structure of the faculty, the schools, and the institute, I now bring on the first institute of the Center for Computing and Social Responsibility, Dr. Caroline Keane.
Hello, thank you, Lipika. It gives me great pleasure to present on our Center for Computing and Social Responsibility. We are the first UK research group to actually focus on this particular topic on ethical and social issues of information and communication technology. And we continue to remain as a leading institute, both in the UK as well as globally. And I'm going to share some slides just to talk about it. So our institute actually focuses and distinguishes itself with particular aspects in relation to having an outstanding record of ethics and technology. And we co-create with technologists, social scientists, and humanities. So it's quite multidisciplinary and transdisciplinary in nature, mainly collaborating as well, not only with academic institutions, but also other research institutions and industry. It's quite well established globally and with a number of European partnerships. And this kind of cutting edge research has actually translated into a spin-off company called Orbit, where we continue to consult with a number of stakeholders and institutions globally. And with this kind of research we do, we pride ourselves on having that intellectual independence from government and commercial research. And so we drive the reality and the facts that are actually driving and shaping technology and emerging technology today. Our key research themes are specifically around responsible research and innovation in digital technologies, ICT for development, which looks at international development and how technology can support international development efforts, surveillance, inequality, and international and global governance of AI and ethics. We have many current projects currently running. I obviously can't speak to every single one of them, but I welcome you to actually visit our website, ccsr.uk. The main key projects that we're very proud of are Human Brain Project, Sherpa, and Tech Ethos, which are quite big projects, some of them actually spanning across different countries, working with up to 500 research scientists and 400 institutions globally. And recently, based on the research we've done, we have a good research output from our director of the Institute, Professor Bernstall, on artificial intelligence for a better future. And this is based on a lot of research in the past, as well as what's driving research going forward in this field with AI and ethics. Next slide, please. In addition to the many projects that we do have and partnerships we do have, we also do value that collaboration with our students, because they also are key in actually defining research going forward. So with our, as Institute Head of Research, we have a particular program, research students, we have a particular program that we work with in building the quality assurance of our students through research seminars to keep them informed about the current trends in the field, as well as network with individuals, guest lectures and workshops, PhD progress seminars to actually allow students to present on their research, and also building supportive collegiality between colleagues as well as their peers in the institute. We also aim to make sure that our students don't only see themselves as only heading towards academia, which is still very important, but we also want to make sure we craft a way for them to actually become leaders in the field of AI and ethics and any emerging technology. So industry collaboration and local and international collaboration with universities and institutions to make sure our students are up to date with the current trends in research, as well as making sure that they have a conference presence and continue to network. Final slide, please. So please, if you'd like to find out more about us, please do visit our website. We're celebrating 25 years of existing, so there's quite a lot of research we have that we'd like to share on current and past projects, as well as the individuals, academic staff as potential supervisors that you can learn about. Follow us on Twitter as well to see what our research projects are involved in. And then finally, please do email me if you have any further information that you would like about our program. Thank you, Deepika.
Thank you so much, Caroline. That's been great. We now have our next institute, Cyber Technology Institute, and I invite Dr. Feng Cheng to speak about his institute.
Hello, everyone.
Hello,
I'm going to present Cyber Technology Institute. Cyber Technology Institute, it's come back to 1990s. Yeah, next slide. And this is a very excellent environment, and we have a lot of active research staff, dedicated, advanced laboratories, and the student environment communities is very friendly, and the future career for this research institute is very bright. We have 3 research groups. One is a cybersecurity center, and another is the software technology research laboratory. And the third one is the context, intelligent and interactive research groups. I'm going to introduce them one by one and introduce the whole institute. We have a lot of research projects, the EU, the UK, EU, and some international collaborations. We also have a lot of research partners. And the cybersecurity center, we've got academic center of excellence in cybersecurity research. And this ACE is only less than 30 universities has been selected in these centers. We also have more than 30 active research academics. For the Cybersecurity Technology Institute, next. And we have the very dedicated advanced laboratories. And one is a cybersecurity lab. You can do the forensic, you can do some attacks or red, blue test, and you can also use the industrial control system lab. In this lab, we have a lot of control system in the factory manufacturing, and you can try to test and try to investigate the security of this industry environment. We also have a smart lab. This smart lab is provide IoT-based environments, which you can do some edge computing, some IoT-based research in this lab. And we also provide some workspace for each PhD student. Next, please. And we have we have a lot of industry connections. We also have an industry advisory group. It's consisting of the Airbus Group, Deloitte, Rolls-Royce, and the BT. We have these industrial advisory groups twice every year. And they help us to advise us on the teaching and also the research. And the research PhD students can also get the connections with these large companies representatives to get the advice from the latest research hot areas. Next, please. And here is two examples for the PhD research. This is just examples. We have a wide range of research topics. So some students can do the sub-incident information to manage their risk. They can also build the unified communication architecture for the social critical environment. So this is mainly for the cybersecurity centers research topics. And of course, we have other many different projects, so you can join us and with different research topics. Next, please. And we have a lot of excellent graduated research students. I just select two here. One is Dr. Hauk Janik. He graduated 10 years ago, and he is now a research director at Cybersecurity Collaborative Research Center in Australia. Another is Kevin Jones. He's now the global head of product and cybersecurity research and in the Airbus Group Innovations. Our graduated PhD students, they all feel that the institute provide them with knowledge, with skills, with connections, and also help them to develop their career very well for their future, for their jobs. So this is an excellent institute, and we welcome you to join us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Feng. It's been really informative. We now move on to our next institute, Institute of Artificial Intelligence. And I invite Dr. Fabio Carafini to the contact for the Institute to present.
Hello everyone.
Hi, Fabio.
This is Fabio from School of Computer Science and Informatics. I'm currently the Institute Head of Research Students for IAI, the Institute of Artificial Intelligence. I'm trying to prepare this presentation so that you can find in it several links to know what we do and who we are. So, and I made it also available online to make it easier to you to find relevant web pages. So I'm going to share the link of this presentation for you in the chat. And I'm going to introduce what are the main research topics and research areas that we are addressing in our institute. Actually, AI is a very wide subject, is an umbrella name. So AI goes from simple linear regressions to complex deep learning systems. And at EMU, we cover pretty much every sort of AI methods that nowadays you find in the literature. But historically, we built some reputation mainly for investigating computational intelligence. So inside the institute, we have a research group called Center for Computational Intelligence, where researchers are investigating evolutionary computing for optimization, artificial neural systems, and fuzzy logic, but also very hot topic that nowadays are very popular, such as deep learning and natural language processing. Then we have also another group, a very important group in our institute. It's called DIGIT, where researchers are mainly investigating intelligent systems for traffic and air quality control, but they also do environmental modeling, etc. We do not only do research at a theoretical level, so we do not only design AI methods, but we also do research with applied AI. In this area, we also have some research interest group. For example, we have the cross-disciplinary interest group RISE that is currently collaborating with other schools in our university, for example, health and life sciences, for applying AI in different domains. So this is just a brief interview to show you that it doesn't matter which specific technique, AI methods you want to investigate in your doctoral studies, or which application domain you want to address. We will be able to find a good supervisory team for you to achieve your potential. So regardless the application domain, that could be in computational intelligence, intelligent transport system, research in society, or digital health, we will be able to find a supervisory team that will be able to support you. So the next slide. Why doing a PhD with us? Well, I already covered this. We have history in supervising PhD students, and staff members in our institute is very skilled at supervising research students. And we have what we call academic impact, in the sense that our supervisors are very research active people that sit in editorial boards of journals and are able to guide PhD students through their journey, so that they will be able to disseminate their research in top journals and very appropriate forums. But this is not the only kind of impact we can provide and we make. Indeed, we have researchers running spin-off companies, thus generating commercial and also societal impacts. If you want to know more, you may want to have a look at these links that I made available in the presentation. Finally, but still very important, we also provide you with state-of-the-art facilities. So, for example, if you want to investigate and you want to use a state-of-the-art deep learning model, we can provide you with workstations with GPUs that you can use for doing that. Next. Thank you. So to conclude this presentation, I just would like to share some successful stories of alumni that we have that did very well, and just to show you that a PhD at the MU is very valuable and can prepare you for your future career, regardless of the final goal you want to achieve. So, for example, we had successful students who got their PhD and then joined academia right after their PhD. In particular, you have this is the case of Sho Young, who also got, who is now a lecturer, but he also got a very prestigious award. This is the IEEE Computational Intelligence Society Outstanding PhD Dissertation Award. And we usually tend to encourage our students to apply for this kind of awards, and we have been very successful. But we also have those who wanted to pursue a different career in the private sector. So, for example, we have Raymond, who is a senior sales manager at Accenture, but also a researcher, a visiting researcher in our institute. And then we have also two very important cases, Stephen and Nick. In the first case, Stephen wanted to pursue a career in the game industry and is now actually an AI programmer at Microsoft, while Nick, who graduated very, very recently in March with no correction at all, is currently taking his PhD work to the proof of concept with a company called Ariba. So if you want to do a PhD with us, and you may want to be one of these successful alumni, don't hesitate in getting in touch with us, or even before applying for your PhD, because we can give support and guidance for you to submit a very strong proposal. And relevant details for sending your application are given in the next slide, which concludes the presentation. That's everything from me. I hope to hear from you very soon.
Thank you so much, Fabio. That was brilliant, and I think something very important that you touched in your presentation is the fact about interdisciplinary research. So it's not only with the Institute of AI, but all other institutes and faculties. I think we would encourage the PhD students who has got interdisciplinary ideas to contact us, because that is something that De Montfort University would really like to take forward, isn't it?
Yes, indeed. And we actually are trying to put together supervisory teams that have all expertise. So we can easily have a team with 1 or 2 members from our institute and a third supervisor.
In any other.
Yeah, to complement the expertise. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Fabio. Thank you. We now move on to the School of Engineering and Sustainable Development, and I would like to invite Dr. Maysam Abdi.
Okay, thanks, Lipika. Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for your interest in the opportunities for postgraduate research in DMU. I'm going to start with a quick introduction to the 2 institutes in our school. So we have Institute of Energy and Sustainable Development, which is for looking at the sustainable built environment, and we have Institute of Engineering Sciences, which looks into different areas of engineering, from mechanical, mechatronics, aeronautics, and nano engineering sciences. The Institute of Engineering Sciences has 4 research clusters. It has Emerging Technologies Research Center led by Professor Shashi Pal, which this research center looks into different nanomaterials, nanoparticles, nanowires, all sort of emerging memory devices, and in general looking at just emerging technologies for material. Then we have Institute of Signal Processing and Communications Systems led by Professor Rauf Hamzavi, which they look into image and video compression, error control systems, multimedia communication, pattern recognition, and that area of research. Then the next research cluster is solid mechanics and materials led by Professor Yang Sun. So this is very multidisciplinary. Again, we look into different areas of solid mechanics, manufacturing systems, materials, and surface engineering, and many more. Also, we have a nonlinear flight dynamics research cluster led by Professor Mikhail Goman, which we look into, first of all, flight simulation, computational methods for investigation of flight regimes, critical flight regimes, stabilization of unstable systems, dynamic systems, and many more. So next slide, please. Okay, so as you can see, this is a very multidisciplinary research institute, and but in particular, as I discussed earlier, we have strengths in material science for mechanical and electronic applications, in mathematical and computer simulation, ranging from nonlinear flight dynamics to electronics communication, and as well as experimental and computational studies in our institute. So here I can briefly provide you with a few different research areas within our institute. Of course, there are many more. So one area is to look into sustainable ways of manufacturing, the use of, for instance, the use of recycled plastic for different applications. As you can see here on the left, there's one project which uses recycled plastic for prosthetics that's been supervised by Dr. Kandan, and that's been funded by Royal Academy of Engineering. So in there, Dr. Kandan is trying to use recycled plastic for the use in prosthetic limbs. And this has very great interest and used in developing countries where some people don't have access to quality artificial limbs, but using this project, Dr. Kandan is trying to improve and design new parts structures using this technology, which can support this goal. Also, the use of 3D printing for fabrication of bricks. Plastic bricks, again from recycled materials, as you can see in here, and that's also that's been proved again in here that it can provide 10 times better insulation than traditional bricks. So this is another area which is being worked in our institute, and we got research students that are working in our these areas. Also, we have application of 3D printing for fabrication of biomaterials. So you can see there's a great interest in the use of 3D printing technologies in here. So for instance, again in here for the use in biomaterials, to use for fabrication of implants. The use of 3D printing can significantly reduce the weight of implants and provide good quality or controllable patient-specific implants. Design optimization, simulation techniques for additive manufacturing is another area of research, and again we have PhD students working on that area. Also, we got academics which are looking into the use of 3D printing in, say, nano micro scales, printing electronic chips, flexible electronic devices. For instance, Dr. Yulia Salaro is looking into this. So these are just a few research which are being done in our institute. But again, as I said, this is a multidisciplinary institute, and we got many more research areas. As I mentioned, for instance, in flight simulation, flight dynamics, that's a very core area in our institute, as well as electronics engineering, nano engineering, all these areas. So you can just contact myself as first point of contact if you are interested in doing research in our institute, or you can just directly, you can find the contact details of the potential supervisors from our website, and just feel free to contact directly with the supervisors in our institute. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Maysam. I think it's a whole breadth of research that's going on, isn't it? And you can just cover a little bit. So we do encourage potential applicants to go into the website and have a look. But I mean, it's a wonderful research, and basically, recycled and sustainable manufacturing, 3D printing. There's a lot of things that has got societal benefits and impacts.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you, Mason.
Thank you.
We now have the Institute of Energy and Sustainable Development. We have Dr. Andrew Mitchell, who will be presenting to us on behalf of Professor Mark Lemon, who is the Institute Head of Research student. Andrew, over to you. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, Lipika. Hi, I am Andrew Mitchell. I'm a lecturer in engineering management. It's my great pleasure to introduce the Institute of Energy and Sustainable Development. Having done my own PhD in environmental social science here, I can personally attest to the knowledge and skills of my colleagues as internationally renowned researchers and lecturers. As you know, sustainability and sustainable development concerns the future well-being of our planet and our species, and the areas being researched and taught are of real-world relevance and significance to help advance this agenda. By researching with us, you will be helping to contribute to this rapidly changing and important field of work. Over the next few slides, I will briefly introduce the Institute, invite you to visit the relevant web pages to find out more about us, our research themes, and how we can support you going forward as a researcher. The Institute itself has been doing interdisciplinary research for over 30 years in order to develop knowledge, skills, and technology to support sustainable living in communities, primarily through low-carbon energy systems and infrastructure, as well as bringing solutions to the base of the pyramid population. Our research applies systems thinking and integrative methods in order to capture complex interrelationships between all aspects of sustainability, and its team of social scientists, engineers, and building physicists have delivered internationally excellent or world-leading research in the REF 2014. All this has generated wider socioeconomic and environmental impacts around the world in order to support sustainable development. Next slide, please. Some of the fun facts and figures about IESD. On the left-hand side of the slide, you'll see some of the funding bids that we've been successfully tendered for. Some of these, I won't go through the details. You can look at these more in the website. However, as you can see on the right-hand side of that, the amounts are pretty impressive. 3.7 million euros, for example, 560,000 British pounds. We've got 20 research active staff. We have 8 VC 2020s and 3 early career academic fellowship lecturers, 4 professors and 2 readers. Some of the main research themes, as already mentioned, we have low carbon energy systems and infrastructure. We look at sustainable communities and sustainable living, and we look for solutions for the bottom billion of the world. You'll see at the bottom of that screen, all our work underpins the UN Sustainable Development Goals, and that is the ethos that underpins all of our research and our academic work too. Next slide, please. Some of the examples of current and recent PhD research. In low carbon systems, for example, there's been modeling of geothermal energy, an LCA, life cycle analysis of non-domestic buildings, as well as smart solutions in order to manage peak electricity demand in Saudi Arabia. With respect to sustainable communities, some of our researchers have been looking at the resilience of the Niger Delta. Others have been looking at the role of agricultural bank in sustainable development, as well as ecosystem management of national parks. In terms of developing countrywide solutions or country scale solutions, been looking at the monetization of natural gas in Nigeria, access of electricity access planning in Nigeria, electrification of informal settlements in sub-Saharan Africa, and vulnerability of natural gas infrastructure to climate change impact, again in Nigeria. Next slide, please. We have a range of expertise. This is just a snapshot of some of the current expertise. Colleagues are well-versed in bespoke design and simulation using agent-based modeling, for example, as well as simulation of building energy efficiency. Our staff also know about data processing and data analysis using big data as well as time panel data. Some of our researchers and academics have great skill in looking at policy, governance, vulnerability, looking at reliability of particular infrastructure and systems. We also have abilities to look at the capacity in terms of capacity building and developing communities from the ground up. We have knowledge in strategies and policy analysis, innovative design and technologies, including biophilic design, biomimicry design, whole systems analysis. We're looking at low carbon transport, so electric vehicles, as well as smart charging, low carbon energy using geothermal, amongst other forms of energy, simulations and modeling, building energy efficiency, as well as more innovative approaches such as the bottle house that you can see in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. We also look at, on the whole, sustainable communities, so how people can save energy without sacrificing their comfort. As I said, this is only a snapshot. There is much more on the website. Please do visit the Institute's website, and we look forward to welcoming you to the research fold. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Andrew. It's, I mean, like the breadth of the research that goes on in your institute, it's enormous. And again, like anything else that we do of enormous societal benefit. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lipika.
We now move on to the School of the Leicester Media School, and I invite Professor Justin Smith, who will speak to us about the research that goes on within Cinema and Television History Institute and how you can be part of the institute. Over to you, Justin. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Lipika, and good afternoon, everyone. I'm here speaking on behalf of my colleague Lorraine Porter, who is Institute Head of Research Students for Cinema and Television History, or CATHI, as it's called for short. She couldn't be here today, but it gives me great pleasure to be able to say a few words about the work that we do in cinema and television history. If I could have the first slide, please. So we're specialists in this field in archival screen heritage. We look at the cinema and television industries from a historical perspective, and we pursue evidence-based research into understanding the importance historically and currently of those industries and their outputs in our lives here in the UK, but globally also. So my colleagues, and the Institute has 15 full members, are all film and television historians who are specialists in working in archives and or with oral history data gathering. And many of them have funded research from the Arts and Humanities Research Council and projects which have in the past sponsored very successful PhD and postdoctoral research around a number of different fields that I'll talk to in a moment. To say a little bit about the archival collections that CATHI has, we have a whole host of different material collections which are not film-based or not moving image-based, but are predominantly paper-based archives, but they range very widely across film and television history. And we particularly encourage applications from postgraduate students interested in pursuing PhD projects working in our archives. We hold an annual postgraduate archives training day, which is specifically about developing skills for postgraduate students interested in doctoral work in this field, where we explore and demonstrate in a very hands-on way the methodologies required for this kind of research. Our funded research and publications and the status of the work of my international colleagues has had tremendous impact in the research assessment framework in 2014, which was the last period for which we have data. CATHI came first in its panel of world-leading outputs, and 100% of its impact and 90% of its environment was of international standing. We also work very closely with the heritage industries locally. We have significant partnerships in Leicester with the Phoenix Cinema, where my colleague Dr. Monia Achari is the co-curator of the annual UK Asian Film Festival, and Lorraine Porter is the curator of the BFI's Silent Film Festival. And that speaks of just two specialisms within our wide range of subject expertise. Next slide, please. So many of our PhD students are part-time as well as full-time, and we have several who are internationally based. We also support PhDs by practice-based experience and master's level degrees by research as a precursor to PhDs. We're very well experienced in PhD supervision, and many of our recent graduates have gone on to pursue careers in academia. Cassie Brummett is a great example of a recent PhD graduate who worked after her doctorate on a project looking at cinema audiences in a number of independent regional cinemas. And that work was sponsored by the British Academy. She's also worked at the Phoenix Cinema. James Fenwick, whose PhD was on the films of Stanley Kubrick, went on to a lectureship and became course leader of film studies at Sheffield Hallam University. Much of our work is also international facing, and my colleagues such as Monia Achari, a specialist in Indian cinema, works with a number of Indian film archives. As well as the annual Archives Open Day, we also have a range of internal seminars that encourage our postgraduate students to be actively involved in showcasing their work from a very early stage, and given opportunities to disseminate their research in progress, not only here, but at conferences more widely as well. Next slide, please. So our work is primarily archival based, but also we increasingly support a number of practice-based PhDs. We have 3 new PhDs beginning this year who are all filmmakers, whose filmmaking experience is part of their PhD study. We attract a number of PhD scholarships from the local Arts and Humanities Research Council's Doctoral Training Partnership, Midlands 4 Cities. And this year we were successful at 100% of our applicants from DMU in cinema and television history gain funding for their projects from the Midlands 4 Cities Consortium. We also work with a range of other partners beyond Leicester and the Phoenix Cinema, including the Media Archive for Central England and national bodies such as the BFI and the Royal Albert Hall as well. Our Palace Film Archive is going to be the subject of a new documentary that's going to be produced on behalf of Palace Pictures very soon. And our relationship with the DVD distributing company Network also has resulted in many collaborations. So we're not only historians studying archives, but we are an institute that's very much engaged with the heritage industries and promoting opportunities with them for our postgraduate students. Thanks very much for your attention. I'd be delighted if you have further questions about our work. Either contact me or my colleague Lorraine Porter, and we'll be very pleased to talk about the opportunities we have for you here in cinema and television history. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Justin. It's, one of the major strengths is perhaps the archive, isn't it? And the amount of material within the archive and the collaboration that you have with industry, both nationally and internationally. And I'm sure postgraduate research students will have an ample opportunity to sort of, use the archive as well as benefit from the collaboration.
Very much so.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. We are moving on. We now have the Institute of Creative Technologies, and we would like to invite Professor Tracy Harwood to present her institute here. Tracy.
Hello. Hi.
Hello.
Thank you.
Lydia?
Yeah, thank you. Hello, everyone. Nice to be here with you, albeit virtually. So I'm Tracy Harwood. I'm Professor of Digital Culture within the Institute of Creative Technologies. I'm also its Deputy Head, among a number of other roles. So a little bit about the IOCT. We are particularly interested, if you can go to the next slide, please. That's it, thank you. We are particularly interested in the practice and theory of creative technologies, which is a very, very broad term with a number of research themes such as creativity in a digital age, urban living, lifelong well-being and social value. And we work with cross-cutting themes on that around the roles of artificial intelligence, robotics, virtual, augmented and mixed realities, holography, 3D imaging of various different types, interaction design, the Internet of Things, smart cities, and so on. We were formed in 2006, so we're 15 years old. We're a recently grown group of academics. We're 13 members now, of which 4 of us are professors in different areas. We focus very much on transdisciplinary research, particularly working across areas related to the digital economy and creativity, enhancing well-being, as I said, arts, science, technologies, and business, primarily through practice-based research in creative technologies, which includes R&D and various kinds of applications. So some of the research clusters that we have currently operating are to do with creative AI, digital performance, game art, graphics and animation, immersive realities and digital culture. We have a number of labs associated with the IOCT. I'm director of the usability lab, which is actually primarily an industry-facing lab, which is to do with interactive design and its impacts in different industrial contexts. But we also have immersive technology labs focusing, for example, on photogrammetry and virtual reality performance. And that leads us to accepting PhDs with quite a wide range of research topics in the areas of emerging technologies and their various creative, performative, cultural, socio-cultural, technological applications. And that's what you see in the middle of the slide there. We also have a number of partnerships with world-leading organisations, some of them in the UK, a number of them international. I'm sure you recognise some of the logos up there. That's just a cluster of some of the current ones, although I did notice that Leicester Haymarket Theatre is on there, and unfortunately that's been one of the casualties of COVID as an organisation. It's recently closed. So, you know, that's an area of ongoing work in terms of some of the things that we do in the IOCT in developing relationships and helping organisations to support their future cultural practice through creative technologies. So we have funded projects by organisations such as the Arts Council, the Arts and Humanities Research Council, Innovate UK, the British Academy, and various others. And on the next slide, alongside a couple of award-winning knowledge transfer partnerships, what I wanted to just show you very briefly is some of the testimonies of recent students. So firstly, Sean Clark. Sean is currently working as an artist and curator in Leicester. And his comments, as you can see, I'm not going to read the comments, but his comments are that his use of practice-based methodologies, which we helped him develop in the Institute of Creative Technologies, has allowed him to explore his research interests, which in turn has enabled him to create what he would describe as a very significant body of new artwork, as well as a theoretical framework that he is using today to develop his professional career, having been awarded his PhD a couple of years ago. He's now actually a visiting researcher at the IOCT and a collaborator in a current project that I'm working on, which is the Art AI Festival. He's also a visiting professor at the School of Art and Design in Guangdong University of Technology in China, albeit that's been online in the last year, of course. He is the founder of the digital arts organization Interact, and also a curator and collector of computer art, which has led him to start the Computer Arts Archive, which is also founded in Leicester and has quite a significant collection of some very early computer arts work as well. So that's Sean. Now for Stacey Bennett-Worth, who is an artist researcher and is currently completing her practice-based PhD. Her research is helping her to build a digital resource that foregrounds digital creativity and intermedial performance making at further education level. So she's particularly interested in that area. Whereas Mo Latifa, who completed his PhD in 2015, is now an assistant professor at the Department of Computer Science in the University of Sharjah in the UAE. His comments are that his time at DMU and with the IOCT was life-changing for him. It not only gave him an opportunity to explore his transdisciplinary research area, which actually involved computer science and design thinking, but also helped him to explore who he was and how his work and his interests sit in the world at large. Mo actually remains an associate and collaborative member of the IOCT. And I would say, generally speaking, that as a researcher within the IOCT, you probably never leave us. And on that note, I think I will hand on to the next person. I'm conscious of time here. So back to you, Lipika. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tracy. Would you like to say a quick word on the Art AI Festival if someone's around Leicester?
Sure, yes, of course. Okay, so the Art AI Festival actually launched on the 1st of May. We've got a 10-month-long program, 6 months running exclusively in Leicester, and then another few months running with co-located artworks at the Expo in Dubai, which we're very excited about. So if you have time, you're in the city and you want to explore some of the installations, we have an amazing trail of world-leading artists. And this evening, actually, I'm going to be doing the online launch event with an organization called Improbotics, which is a very exciting opportunity for us to get involved with live teleimmersive performance involving AI, involving virtual reality, robotics, and we'll see what chaos unfolds, I think.
Yes. Thank you so much. It's just that if anyone's around in Leicester and any potential applicants and who's interested can have a look around and see if this is what they want to do.
Thanks. Yes.
Thank you, Tracy, and all the best for the evening. Thank you. Moving on, we now have the Media Discourse Center, and I would like to invite Dr. Juliana Tripalli, who's the Institute Head of Research Student at the point of contact for our Media Discourse Center. Hello, Juliana.
Hello, everyone. Thank you. Thanks, Lipika. So, hi, thank you. I'm going to spend a few words to tell you what the Media Discourse Center is about. So, as Lipika was saying, my name is Juliana. I'm the first person you may be in touch with if you want to work with us, and then I will support you throughout your studies and work at the Media Discourse Center. I want to say mostly what is not there already in our social media. We have a Twitter account, we have an Instagram account, we have a blog, and we have an official page, which is linked to the DMU general website. They are all linked in this slide, so please go and check. In there, you can find a lot of information about the specific publication, research, and projects, and my lovely colleagues, among which you can see, Dr. Govinder Ajula there, who just published a book on the BBC BBC Asia network just a couple of days ago. So I want to skip all that because it's already there, but I just want to tell you what the media discourse is and how it is different from another, or another center or institute where the media are studied and analyzed. So the Media Discourse Center is devoted to the critical analysis of the contemporary social order, with a particular emphasis on the global character of media communication. And so you can say that the key words in what we do are global discourses and media. How are we different then? We are different because we rely on an international network of students, first of all, a variety of different students. I'll tell you more about that in a second, but also academics and practitioners. We have a lot of collaborations with different countries. So in a way, we not only have links and connections when we do research outside of the Montfort University, we are really an international community mostly. At the same time, these people with whom we work and who play a variety of different roles, they have a grounded, a specialized expertise in their specific context and location where they're based, or the sector where they work. So when you work at the Media Discourse Center, mostly you get this sense of the variety and actual, the consequence of this variety at the very beginning. It's not something you get at the very end. So we have, for example, some practitioners like Rona Meyer, who is one of our new PhD students, who is now coming to become an academic and get a PhD with us, and then going back to work with the Solution Journalism Network in the field. So this is how we are different in terms of the composition. Can I have the next slide, please, Lipika? And this gives you an idea of this grounded global network we are based on. And can I have the next slide again, please? Just to spend a few words about the vision. What is the vision behind our work? It's a global vision, and the idea that our research has to be of some value to produce better societies for the public good. And this is many years that the Media Discourse Center exists and is doing this. And our work is based on a unique critical perspective. On one hand, we want to promote and support projects of research and experimental practitioners research projects which analyze how power is exerted through the media, how the media create situation of oppressions, how the media create lack of justice, and make all this visible. But on the other hand, we also want projects to have a little bit or a lot of contribution to constructive approaches to make it possible for the media to also become tools for liberation and create better societies. So, for example, we have research about Israel-Palestine, the analysis of the role that the media have played in preventing peace achievement in some ways, but we also have research about peace journalism and Israel-Palestine. Next slide, please, Lipika. So this grounded network and global and critical perspective are reflected in, first of all, the range and variety of publication that you can browse and check in our website and in our blog, and the variety of members. And here you can see Professor Stuart Price, who is the head of the Media Discourse Center, but also in the variety of the PhD students that we host. So we have a 90% women doctoral students. 60% of our students are from an ethnic minority. They come from a variety of countries. Some of them are practitioners, as I was saying before, who want to get specialized knowledge, develop specialized knowledge from an academic perspective. And we have at the moment about 13 PhD students, some of which are internally funded and some of whom are also self-funded or part-time as well. And can I have the next slide, please, Lipika? So the range of topic, which is listed here, gives you also, reflect this kind of critical perspective and the variety of the members that compose the Media Discourse Center. And this is, again, then reflected in the kind of support that you get when you work at the Media Discourse Center for doing your PhD. So we rely, first of all, on this international network of practitioners and academics, and so you can get a lot of benefit from this, from a variety of perspectives and different contexts of the members of the Media Discourse Center. We rely on the solid internal mechanisms at faculty level of monitoring progress and supporting our students. And we also offer individual one-to-one support, which is specifically personalized and adapted to the different needs. Again, if you think of a practitioner coming to work with us, who is still doing their job, they will need to come and engage on perhaps on a part-time basis or with a more flexible kind of approach. We particularly support and are open to discuss new ideas, even if you don't have a specific project, a comprehensive project ready for submission, which could start with a Master of Research and then develop in an MPhil and then in a doctorate later on. So yes, my invitation is then to contact us, and you can find our contact in the next slide. So I will say, for an informal kind of chat, to contact myself first, and also Professor Stuart Price. Both of us is okay, or the one you prefer, and then we will take it from there. We can rely again on this diverse network to find the right supervisor for you, and much more than that. So I look forward to hearing from you and to see what you want to work on in the near future with us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Juliana. That was wonderful. And media is it just plays such an important role, especially in today's society, isn't it? And we do encourage new researchers because it does have a huge societal benefit to have a positive.
Yes, absolutely. We are also now, I forgot to mention impact. One of the things, among the many, is that we are submitting a report to the Council of Europe about the impact of the media in crisis situations, so also in relation to the pandemic, and there will be a resolution out of that. So this is the kind of work that you can do when you have practitioners and academics, from around the world coming into a university center. I think it's, the strength of the Media Discourse Center. Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Juliana. Thank you. The next center is Media and Communication Research Center, and we have with us today the director of the Institute, Dr. Simon Mills. And hello, Simon.
Hi, Lipika. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you? And thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'll hand over the mic to you.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. So my name's Simon Mills. I'm the head of it's actually now called the Media and Culture Research Centre. We had a bit of a name change last year. But anyway, we are a group of researchers who are based mainly in the media and communication, kind of teaching the media communication degree here at DMU. So we're a relatively new centre. We're only established in 2018. And as I said, we're comprised of a group of academics who mainly work in the media and communication and/or cultural studies area. And we cover a number of related topics that fall under the umbrella of the media and communications discipline broadly. So as such, we're well placed for supervising a wide range of topics, and indeed utilising a broad number of different research methods that tend to be found in media communication, cultural studies and social sciences. So for example, the MCRC undertakes research utilising methods such as textual analysis, semiotic analysis, statistical analysis, industry and policy analysis, ethnography, games-based modelling, as well as theoretical and philosophical-led approaches. And in fact, we've got a new member of staff joining us very soon whose focus is on video games, and especially narratology in video games. So that's a really exciting kind of addition to what we're doing. So what I'm going to do for the rest of my talk is just talk about these 6 main areas you see on the left here, and just discuss some of the work that the academics in the centre are doing in these areas, and in which they'd be interested in supervising any kind of related research project that you might wish to undertake. So these 6 main areas here are basically research areas that have emerged from our research as a centre. It's not that the research centre was set up in order to research into these areas, but this is kind of an emergent process of us working together to identify these different areas. So the first main area where we have a lot of expertise and a lot of research is around representation in the media, which is, quite a traditional kind of topic for media and communications research, and the kind of expertise and the kind of work that some of our academic colleagues are doing are around representation of groups such as migrant communities, around the representation of race, youth engagement, the media representation of women, national and cultural belonging. So, for example, a colleague, Julia Havas, is looking at the representation of Eastern Europeanness in, TV representations. Think of programs like Killing Eve, for example, and how Eastern Europeans are represented there. Also, representations in pop cultures. We've got an expert who looks at representation in subcultures, particularly punk. So all his work is focused on, punk as a history, both as ethnographic research, but also about representation in media. And then there's work around gender identities and intersectionality. And academic colleague is also working very much in the area of looking at Black masculinity and also representation in streaming cultures. So that's, we work a lot around, or some of the work that we do is around representation. So if that interests you, then, we've got a lot of expertise in the centre that can support a project in that. Another broad area of expertise is around media technical change and culture. It's an area where I do quite a lot of work, where I look at philosophy of technology and how that relates to media technology and what kind of lessons we can learn from that. And this feeds into the debate going back to Raymond Williams and Marshall McLuhan in the 60s, which comes up to date with thinkers like Friedrich Kittler and Bernhard Stiegler, and looking at, the way that technical change and media change relate to kind of cultural and social transformation. So we look at subjects like disinformation, big data, social disadvantage through human-centered design, so stuff like algorithmic bias, database culture, and then things like TV studies and streaming culture. And as I say, we've got someone joining us who's also looking at video game cultures and narratives. So some of the areas of within that colleagues work in who'd be happy to supervise projects within is things like paranormal media. So not just how the paranormal is represented on TV, but also how the paranormal is actually constructed through media technologies. We think about, haunted record players or haunted cameras, video cameras, those kind of things that you see on different films. This kind of transformation of the paranormal with technical change. It's kind of really fascinating kind of area. There's also we've got people working on streaming cultures and identity politics. So think about Netflix and identities and how they're represented in shows like Bridgerton or Orange is the New Black or Dear White People, Never Have I Ever, those kind of things. So there's some interesting stuff going on around, transformations in TV from a broadcast to a streaming medium and cultural shifts as well. Another broad area we look at is in cultural citizenship, particularly looking at things like multiculturalism and decolonization. So got some people working in that area, women in academia, but also my colleague, Dr. Paul Smith, works a lot within the relationship of sports and media. So in relation to sports rights and the media, for example. So he's been very interested recently in the attempt to set up this Super League and how that was both interpreted culturally by football fans, but also as a shift in media policy as well. What underpinned that move was ostensibly big deals with media companies, or failed move, I should say. And also a colleague, Jenny Jones, who also works in festival studies, looks at how festivals are developed and the histories of festivals and what they mean to localities in which they're held. And then in this area of cultural citizenship, we've also got people working in the relationship of media and democracy, such as political communications, and also the use of social media by migrant families during the time of COVID in particular. Our colleague Indrani Lahiri has been doing some work in Leicester on migrant families and how they've used social media to basically help educate their children and stay in touch and that kind of thing. So it's really kind of fascinating and grounded work. Another area is cultural or media policy. So we look at things like institutional analysis. I've talked about sports broadcasting already, such as the Super League, but also representation in sports. You know, the different media policies that go alongside different sports. So, for example, you know, the televisation of cricket and its move to Sky, for example, and what that meant for the sport, and the regulation of the sport as well. And also some other work being done about the political actors in India and that kind of thing. Then the last two broad topics we've got that we do work in is cultural values, so kind of thinking about kind of ethical perspectives of media, so things like online communication and persuasion. So I'm thinking there things about like the attention economy or surveillance capitalism as come to be known. So that's kind of an area that we're interested in, and the relationship of data to surveillance to political and industrial actors. And also Indrani is also a specialist in public relations, so she's interested in any kind of research that looks at public relations both critically but also practically. And our final kind of broad area is sustainability, particularly the materiality of media, what materials go into making our contemporary media, and the kind of social, political, cultural ramifications there are in the way that our media are actually built and the infrastructures that support them. So sorry it's a bit of a rush through because we've got so many kind of things that we cover at the moment. You'll find a full list of the academics in the centre on the website, as well as the kind of specialist areas they work in. Feel free to contact myself or any of those academics if you want to kind of inquire about supervision in any of those areas. But hopefully that's enough to get you going. So I hope that's okay.
Thank you so much, Simon. I mean, it's really, really interesting. And what I see from your presentation is that very, very timely issues that are being researched, isn't it?
Indeed.
Yes, yes.
We do try to stay up to date. You know. We do try to stay up to date. We do try to stay up to date in media jobs.
Yes, yes.
Absolutely clear to me.
No, very timely issues, and we do encourage you know, whoever's watching to please get in touch and go through the websites and get in touch with the academics and you know have a look at what they have produced so far and get in touch. Thank you so much, Simon. We will try and bring back John again, and hopefully John.
I'm here, I think. Is this better?
Yes, you're perfectly clear now.
Very good.
Yes.
It's like one of those Radio 4 interviews, isn't it? So
absolutely. And thank you for your patience.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm John Young, Professor of Composition, and I'm going to talk about the Institute for Sonic Creativity. So we deal with the application of new technologies to music creation. So we're very practical. Practice-based research in composition and sonic arts, but we also are involved in musicology and analysis. We're thinkers as well. We expand and translate our work into educational applications, and we also work on studies in music reception and the creative process itself. And one thing that's really important, if you do a PhD with us, you will also be writing. You will also be looking at the wider context in which your work is situated and writing about that. That's a very, very important part of our work. We were established in 1999. We have 11 full-time staff. We have 2 associate researchers who are in the Institute of Creative Technologies, who you heard from before. who have interests very close to ours. We have very wide-ranging expertise in all forms of electroacoustic music, acousmatic music, instrumental music, audiovisual creation, sound installations, hardware hacking, instrument building, live coding and telematic performance, and more. We do the whole range. We're involved in spatial audio and sound design, the perception and cognition of music, and new modes of music performance. Our analytical and critical work takes place in all these areas. For example, we have projects on narrative in music, sampling cultures, spectralism, timbre, historical studies and gender studies, and a lot more. The culture that we have created, we're very proud of. We have dedicated facilities, suites of composition studios in the Performing Arts Centre for Excellence, the PACE studio. We have a 32-channel studio there where we give performances and where we teach. We also have high-density speaker arrays in others of our composition studios. And we have study and making spaces and social space that's available for students. And we have our own coffee machine. We run a concert and seminar series. We have regular guest speakers and performers, and we include postgraduate researchers in that as well, so that you're very much part of that culture and rubbing shoulders with the guests that we have from elsewhere. We're a centre for conferences. In 2019, we ran the first of our Convergence conferences, where the guest was Curtis Rhodes from the University of California, Santa Barbara, who is very, very well known in our field. And the idea of that conference was to mix the kind of music we do with other forms. So on that occasion, it was Indian classical music that we also featured alongside our own electronic music. We're the co-founder of the EMS series, which meets in international venues, and we're the editorial home of Organised Sound, which is one of the leading journals in our field. We have a number of partnerships internationally. The GRM, which is the research wing of Radio France, the University of Montreal, Stockholm, the Royal College of Music in Stockholm, and many others. And we try and make these of tangible benefit to postgraduate students through residencies, exchanges, performances, and indeed guest supervisions. And on the next slide, I've got some images of some students. I thought this is in some ways the best way to talk about what we do. Sam Topley, who you see in the top left there, was a graduate of ours on our BA program. Her work as a PhD student is on craft-focused electronic instrument building. So you can see her there with one of her pom-poms. She makes pom-poms as a kind of tactile interface for instruments that she of her own construction, electronic instruments of her own construction. Traditional musical instruments are tactile, of course. You hold them, you play them with your fingers. But the kind of work that Sam is doing is bringing touch in a new kind of way. Louise Rossiter, she came to us from a master's degree at the University of Edinburgh, and she looked at the question of expectation in acousmatic music. One of the things we can do with technology, with computers, is make any kind of sound that you like. And that throws up really interesting questions about how do you follow the flow of sound? What do we expect? What do we think is coming next? How do we relate that to what's been? And so her study was a practical investigation through composition into that. And Louise was also the first prize winner of a big competition in Brussels for performance of multi-loudspeaker music. Virginie Viel, she studied fine art in Caen in France, and then moved into music at the Mons Conservatoire. Her work was on multiform visualization as a way of working. So she was bringing her visual arts background in to look at the way that strategies like sketching, using photography and video could be used as a source of inspiration in sound creation. Asher Arnon, he's actually an associate professor at the Bezalel Academy of Art and Design in Jerusalem. So he's a working professional he came to do a PhD with us on visual music strategies and the sense of place. So you can see his picture there in with these huge screens that were set up, two-way screens, with his audiovisual installation, which was at the core of his portfolio. Amit Patel on the bottom right there, he came to us via Leicester College, further education college, through our degree program, and did his PhD with us. His project was the Studio Bench, the DIY Nomad and noise selector. This blended his own instrument construction from components with studio-based work and with performance. Francesc Martí came with a mathematics degree from Barcelona, and he'd gravitated into new media art. His work, you can see those little screens there, his work was a kind of granular audiovisual work with using his own software to shred sound and video using images from Tarkovsky films and presented in this kind of multi-screen installation, small screen installation. And that has toured the world, that project, while he was still a student. And lastly, on the bottom left, Marie van Gorkum. She's Dutch, but had studied in the US, and she's a bass clarinetist, and so she's working with composers on sound processing software that processes her sound in real time as she performs. So that's a really wide spectrum of the kind of activity that we do. These people have come from a wide variety of places, parts of the world. They've studied in different places before coming here, and also bring other arts backgrounds. So it's very international area that we run, and with a very international group of people. So just on the last slide then, we're a blend. We're a blend of arts and technology. So we're coming from a digital humanities perspective in many ways. We're theory with practice and practice with theory. The two always go together with us. We represent a range of arts practices. We're involved in the creation and performance of music, and we bring this wide range of expertise. And we like to think that we are a local culture, but with international reach. So in our concerts, for example, we present concerts here in the university, but we also reach out into local arts areas such as the Phoenix Arts in Leicester. So yes, PhD available through practice, composition, software, hardware creation, or traditional dissertation. Again, because we're a humanities area, we have funding available through the Midlands 4 Cities Consortium, and through our own DMU scholarships. I think someone mentioned the Midlands 4 Cities earlier on, but we've been quite successful in gaining studentships through that route. And you can see some images around here of one of our studios with lots of loudspeakers, a performance set up with the piano and some gongs, a German group who were here a couple of years ago, dance projects, and live electronics projects as well, a large range of things that we do. If you can find us on the university's website, and you can make contact with us through there. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, John. And something that sort of, that made a mark with me at least, it's local with an international reach. And I think that sort of underlines everything that you do in your institute, isn't it? And
yes,
amazing technology. And again, encouraging anyone who wants to do do their postgraduate research studies to get in touch with John and the other academics in the institute by looking at the website and the contacts there. Thank you so much. And just at the end, I think I will leave with the slide with the contact addresses just sort of there, because we have got all our contact addresses on it. Yes, thank you so much, everyone, and thank you for your patience. We look forward to having you study with us. Thank you so much.